or a one-time monitoring event. It is a
want to solve that problem. So, you standardize it, business, offer it to others in a way that you will appreciate it, and then that they will be willing to pay you for it. That's the right business idea. Now, how do we do this? Coming up with an idea to be simple. The first thing is that you have to be informed. You have to be informed. Why? Because an informed mind is an ever open mind. The wife has said, ideas don't fall on empty brains. So the first step to take is to be informed. So with the right information, when problems surface, you are seeing solution inside it. So that's where the ball begins. I don't forget, January 2024, I was in a hotel room in Dallas, USA, and I felt hungry. So I went to buy food. I didn't have mobility, so if I have to do that, I have to do Uber. So I checked it, I went online. To go and come back, I would pay for $60. Then before I would buy the food. So I decided to check further, and I saw an app, so I downloaded and I placed order for that food. A couple of minutes later, about 30 minutes, the food arrived. It was $16. But what was most amazing, as I stood at the reception, was the fact that drove in there at 4, a very beautiful lady, calling my phone and saying, "Hi, man, your food is here." I expected a bike to come or a motorcycle or something, but it was a car. So instead of spending $80, $90, I'm just spending $16. Probably the transaction was $6. Now, what did they do there? They realized people have this kind of problem. How can we solve it? And they went ahead and solved it. I was so impressed and I was very happy. I went further to look out for that company, just check about them. I found as at 26th of May this year, that company is worth $87.36 billion for giving food to people. In our country here, we just made a deal recently of one of our local food vendors, okay, who has been 2.6 billion naira to show, they call that they call it show them, or just giving food to people. So talking about ideas doesn't require to go to heaven and come back. Just look for solutions around you and offer to solve the problem. Quickly, let's move forward. So let's ask ourselves a few questions here. Who is solving the problem of home services in our environment? Who comes to vacuum your house? Who comes to your house to wash your car? Who comes to your house to give you medical attention? These are not very common in our environment. But I've seen a man who's a multi-millionaire in dollars, only $10 car wash. That's a dead one of them. So when it comes to idea, it's simple. There are problems all around us. Now for us as a company, that's the way we are operated. They just mentioned to you about our company. Our company started with less than 50,000 naira. We started when we had a challenge of money. When I started paying pound sterling to develop myself when I'm taking an international program. And then we started in the kitchen of the house. No staff, everyone would back up for help. But today that company is worth billions. But from just less than 50,000 naira. So that's how we solve the problem. It's when the transportation with the same approach, solving our transport problem, and then we took it out, other people now patronize them for the last 10 years. So coming up with the idea to find the solution, challenges around you, and then commercialize it. Now let's go further quickly. How do you turn the ideas into result? One, you need to consider your area of strength and weaknesses. Whatever business you want to do must be a business in an area that you have passion. You know why? Every new business future challenges. So what sustains you at that time is the passion you have for it. Whether you make it naira or not, you will push it because you love doing it. And the smart man has to say about that. He said the only way to do a great job is to love what you are doing. If you haven't found it, then keep searching more. Steve Jobs said that. You need to do what you love. Number two, you must not be afraid to fail. Honestly, this is one of the greatest factors that have held so many people down. Too many people know what to do, they have all the ideas, but they are afraid to fail. Why? We overestimate risk, we underestimate opportunities. And repeat or move somewhere else. And the fourth point is you must be ready to connect to adapt to market demands. Honestly,
and with that, people lost money. So when you're in business, you need to identify, in fact, they've been able to help us by putting an acronym called PESTA, the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal aspect of what you're doing. And when you aggregate them together, that's when you can now begin to build your seed idea into a value or a viable company. Are we ready yet? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. So like I said, I'm going to build on what Pastor Mike said. Maybe instead of these, I'll just feedback and I'll ask, why do businesses exist? In the simplest form, every business exists to solve a problem. But before they solve the problem, they need to identify the problem, solve the problem, and then capture value from that problem. If you're not doing any of these three, how is it always money? That's why we have social enterprises. That's why we have impact companies. So sometimes that value potential might be money. Sometimes it might be another social or valuable aspect of it. So what I'm here to do is talk about how can we change or transform the ideas that have been generated into models. Because like I said, the key thing, there are good ideas, but one idea is your, and what we're going to do quickly is to talk about vision strategy. So number one, we need to understand that when you want to model a business is economic, political, etc. experiment. At every point that the business is trying to go, they are carrying out the experiments. And what are they testing? They are testing some assumptions. Covenant University experiment. And we're going to try a new form of education. So what do they do? Of how Ogun University, and then they began to validate experiments. And today, we want to model our business. First of all, identify the assumptions. Some consider yogurt and not another product or the idea would be to solve their problems. So every business, if you want to begin to create a model out of the idea, first of all, you need to lay down some assumptions. When you now lay down those assumptions, you need to begin to identify ways on how to test those assumptions in the marketplace. Test, and the more positive they are, then the more you begin to align with. And every business stage, their primary focus is to achieve. In other words, your product and market that you fix into the users, structure, the offering. Once you're able to, once a business has been able to marketplace, they can offer your offering. Okay? Most of the time, we talk about one of those parts to tweak how you can package your offering so that it can sell. But there's another tool that I love using, and it's called the value curve. Because we're in a competitive environment, when I'm giving my offer, I need to make sure that I am above competition. I use the value curve as a tool to benchmark my key selling strategies against my competitors, and that creates new opportunities for me to grow. So that's part of configuring. It means how can I align my business through different parts to ensure that I can give the offering and I can create not take a viable solution offering or a viable idea into a winning business. And of course, the final one is the final part. Sorry, it's the value capture. So you've gotten the idea, planted the idea, tested the experiment. You've configured how you're going to offer it. Now it's time for you to earn something in return. And the value capturing talks about profit equation. Like I said, depending on the kind of your for-profit business, you know that you need to ensure that every revenue you get exceeds what? Your expense. For a sustainable business or for an impact-based business, it must exceed expense and also create an impact. So what do you need to do? You need to increase revenue, or you need to reduce or maintain expenses. And when you're configuring your business, you are going to make sure that everything I'm doing is how can I show up revenue, create new revenue lines, create new customer solutions so that people can buy, or find a cheaper way of offering my service so that my expenses are reduced. And finally, which is the one that I like when it comes to customers, there's a ratio that I call, it's called the LTV and the CAC. The LTV is lifetime value from a longer time. Because when I do keep on buying from me from a longer time, I reduce my CAC, which is my cost of acquisition. So at every given time, in capturing value, I want to extend my customer buying from me, and I want to reduce the cost that I have to keep on paying for advertisements, account officer, tools and resources for that customer. In configuring my business or in capturing value for my business, I need to continue to ensure that I'm increasing LTV and I'm reducing CAC. Now, 10 minutes is quite a long time to talk about this. But what I must say for most businesses is that in trying to refine your model to ensure that your idea is no longer a viable idea, but a winning business, 3 things. Learn how to create value by